Be still and just listen to the wind or the night and your environment and the noise that projects from the insects. This is Cosmic Light. This was a quote from a movie that when you're still and then you're just imagining or just listening to the sounds around you, basically God is speaking to you, or your soul, or your gut, or your inner thing, or your inner energy is talking to you. We talked about cleanse, which I did a cleanse last week, or this week, earlier this week, and it was body cleanse going for the fall. So, the mind and body, there's always a connection in the body and the mind. So you clean the body, you clean the mind. You clean the mind, you clean the body. So whatever affects the mind will affect the body. And whatever affects the body, of course, will affect the mind. So, cleansing the body is just not enough. We need to make sure we cleanse them. And I'll just give you, I'm sure a lot of you are doing this already and aware of this, but just kind of remind all of us, or remind myself too. Cleansing the mind. What are the different tools of which way we can cleanse the mind? Of course, breathing is the most important to cleanse the whole body and the mind. The breath basically cleanses 70% of the system. And taking in deep breaths and just sighing. When you have a breath of a sigh, you are relieving yourself from all that stress. So just doing that on a daily basis. I think every evening, I go home and I just let that stress out, let those negative emotions out, and just doing that regularly, even in the morning, as soon as you wake up, and of course just before you sleep. You're relieving yourself of that tension, relieving yourself of all that worries, and that is, of course, cleansing the mind, because the mind is cluttered. It's cluttered with all these emotions, these thoughts that we have on a daily basis. Every second, there are about 50,000 thoughts that we go through. So cleansing that will help us not only keep sane, but of course, help us so we can concentrate on other things. And talking about concentration, that's also another way of cleansing, where you focus on one task or you focus on one activity that you're doing and you indulge yourself 100%. The other way you could try is just focusing on a candle or a pen while you're meditating. This also gets clarified. The more you do this, the more you get better at it, and the more this gets easier. So you can just do that when you're feeling down, when you're feeling depressed, when you're feeling stressed. You just start doing those activities. The other thing I found is talking less. Talking less also uses, or I guess does not use huge energy. So talking uses a lot of that energy. Talking lets the brain start doing its work, whereas calculating or analyzing or understanding what we should say or the next word should be. So just talking less in a day, a few hours, a few moments, it's really cleansing to the mind and really cleansing to the system, or the nervous system. So, practicing just talking less, and that's why being alone is very important. Giving yourself some minutes or hours maybe in the morning or in the evening where you're just alone on your own, without the family, without everybody else, without your work, without your phone, as a matter of fact, which will also help you. We are in the best age where technology has not only helped us in everything, but some people quote and say it's a dilemma. My wife was watching this Netflix documentary, this is the Social Dilemma, and I started discussing, being argumentative on that side, where I think technology is the best thing we have. We are the era of the century where everything was invented, from bicycles, cars, planes, to computers, to the moon, going to the moon, and of course technology helps us in everything. Having these phones with us, yes, it can get overburdened where we're using a lot of it. So we just need to give it some time where we don't use the phone as much, or on the social media. I'm doing this on social media, but I kind of don't course, everybody has theirs. It's not like I'm good at this. I'm also trying. My downtime is with my Netflix shows, which I get to watch secretly while I'm doing meditations. So because I do not get to watch them otherwise. So, shying away or taking away some of that technology in a day is also again the cloud. So the other thing I think the best thing I have seen, and of course you guys are practicing yoga. Yoga with the breath and with the asanas is very important in cleansing, especially breathing from below the navel, where Kapalabhati is very important in cleansing the air, the carbon dioxide, also cleansing the mind. Because what the heavy breathing or the concentration pranayama does, all the different types of Kriya Yoga, is that helps you concentrate on the breath, where you are not thinking about anything else, where your focus is totally on that breath. So you're not only cleansing the system on a physical level, but a psychological level. So breathing and bringing heavy breathing just in the middle of the day, first thing in the morning, in the evening, just doing that for a few moments helps cleanse the mind. And what I have seen really is, we stand up all day, so gravity is pulling on us and most of the day. I realized, and I looked into it more, doing headstand or being inverted has a lot of benefits, where all the energy goes the other way and the blood starts circulating the other way. And I think that also helps with more blood flow and oxygen into the brain, where it's, again, like an antioxidant to the brain, where it's bringing in nutrients to the brain, turning it upside down against gravity. So I've decided, practicing headstand, yoga headstand. And of course, it took me a month. I started it on my birthday, which was September 18th. I gave myself some time. I'm still practicing. I can do it, but my main goal, of course, is doing handstand. Once I started watching these videos, and then I said, what? I'm 49. By the time I'm 50, I should be able to do this thing. And so far, I've been practicing 5 minutes, 10 minutes on a daily basis, and it's been great. Just being inverted for just 30 seconds for a while. Of course, I'm doing it against the wall right now. So cleanses the respiratory, cleanses the nasal passages, really sinuses, because your blood is flowing the other way, brings in oxygen to the brain. So small tools where we can use to detoxify the mind, because that's what controls the body. So first, cleansing the mind is very important. And my last and one focus thing, which I practice a lot, is forgive. Because our minds are filled with grudges, filled with the past. And that's what brings us all these thoughts. So forgiving the thought, forgiving someone, and forgetting, I think, is the best way to do it. So